Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you guys are all doing good. Welcome back to art class. Today we are going to keep talking about that list of really important art things, art ingredients that we've been talking about called the elements of art. So far this year we've learned about and practiced some lines. We've learned about and practiced some shapes. Today we're going to move on down the list to the next one, which is also super important. That next one that we're going to talk about is color. So why is color important for art? Well, if we didn't have color in our pictures, they would all be less exciting, less enjoyable to look at. There's plenty of pictures that don't have color in them. But the ones that do have color, they can actually make us feel things. Bright colors make us happy. Dark colors can make us even kind of sad. Calm colors like blue and purple can make us calm down and kind of mellow out. So colors are really important, and the colors that an artist chooses to use in their artwork is just as important. If you're trying to make something look like real life, like if you're trying to draw a picture of a big field with a lot of grass in it, you would use a lot of green. If you're trying to do something that's not from real life and you're trying to make someone think something different, oh wow, that's a crazy awesome field, you might have orange grass and a purple sky or something. So colors are a really important thing in our artwork. So before we go on to talk about what we're going to learn, what we're going to practice on today, let's talk about the colors that we use in art class. So in art, we use a lot of different things to help us add color to our drawings. We use things like paint and colored pencils and markers. We use a whole lot of crayons. So where do we get those colors? Do people just go out into a field and pick a crown off of a crown tree? No, that'd be really awesome, but that's not how it works. So all those art supplies that I talked about, things like crayons, they are made from something that we call pigment. So the word pigment, when I say that, what you can kind of picture in your mind is like colored dust or like colored sand. That pigment is mixed with something else. If it's a crayon, it's mixed with wax, and that's how we get that crayon. So where do we get those pigments from? Well, those pigments come from nature a lot of times. They come from things like rocks and trees, different kinds of minerals, and flowers. There was a long time in the history of the world where all the pigments, all the colors that artists used came from flowers. That's kind of interesting to think about because not every part of the world can grow the same flowers. So if you were an artist in Europe, you had different colors to choose from than if you were an artist from somewhere in South America or something like that. Colors are important for artists. They're so important that artists have kind of come up with a tool, something that they can use to help them learn about colors, know things about colors. And that tool we're going to talk a little bit about is called the color wheel. So it looks something like this. Now, we call it a color wheel. There's not a lot of colors on this one. Right now it's blank. We're going to fill it in a second. But you can see why it's called a wheel, because it's kind of that shape. So there are three very, very important colors. Those colors are red, yellow, and blue. Now these colors are important. They are called the primary colors. Their group of colors has their own fancy name. That's how important they are. Now these colors are really interesting because you can't make them unless you have a pigment, some of our little powdered dust, that is those colors. There's nothing I can do to make blue. I just have to have something that's blue. Same for red, same for yellow. These colors, though, they're interesting for that reason, that you can't put any other stuff together to make them. You just have to have that color. But they're also interesting because you can mix these colors together in different amounts to get every other color that we have. So if we mix these together, if you mix two of your primary colors together, you're going to get what we call a secondary color. And those are colors like purple and orange and green. If I mix yellow and blue, I get green. If I mix red and yellow, I get orange. And if I mix red and blue, I get purple. So if you look at this color wheel that now has all of those colors we talked about, the primary and the secondary colors, that's what I mean by it's a tool. One of the things it can teach you is what colors do I mix together to get a secondary color. That's one of the things that we use it for. All right, so that's just like a little tiny bit about colors. Our artwork today that we do is going to have to do with those primary and secondary colors, and we're gonna learn something that'll maybe help us remember how those go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started making our art project for the day. All right, my friends, so when I think about color, one of the first things that comes to my mind is a rainbow. Especially when I'm thinking about all those colors we just learned about, those primary colors and secondary colors. So today, our art project is going to be to make a rainbow and then show like what kind of place that rainbow is at. So today you're going to need a piece of paper, you're going to need a pencil, and you're definitely going to need some crayons, because like we said, this is all about color. If you don't have crayons but you've got markers or something, that's fine, but something that you can use to color your picture. All right, so let's talk about making the place that my rainbow is going to be. Now, wherever your rainbow is doesn't have to be just like mine. It can be if you want it. I'm going to show my rainbow maybe coming up over some mountains. When we think of a rainbow, when we see a rainbow, sometimes we can only see a little bit of it just up in the sky. But if we see like a really good one, a really strong rainbow, we can see that one going all the way down to the ground. So because of that, the first thing I'm going to draw is the ground. So I'm going to use some of those lines that we already learned about. I'm going to use kind of almost a wavy line, almost a bumpy line. I'm going to make some mountains, and for those I'm going to use real big zigzags. And that's about all I want, because the important part is going to be my rainbow. I'm going to switch to using the marker so you guys can see a little bit better. But remember, you should be using a pencil. So let me just go ahead and make this a little bit darker so you can hopefully see it okay. Alright, so my rainbow. We want it to come all the way from up into the sky, all the way down to the ground. Now when we think about a rainbow, what kind of line do you think we're going to use to make it? Do you think we're going to use straight lines, or do you think we're going to use curvy lines? If you said curvy, you're right. A rainbow curves up real big and then comes back down. Now this part is the challenging part, because we're going to have to do some thinking about numbers, which we don't always have to do in art class, which is good because Mr. Holiday is not great at math. Today we're going to need to draw 8 curved lines. And each curve that I make is going to be a little bit bigger than the one before it. Alright, so I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to do my first curved line. So 1. You notice I didn't go past my mountain. I want it to look like it stops when it hits those mountains. So that's why I did that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoop, hope I don't run out of room. 7. All right, I think I can fit one more in there. And 8. All right, so there's my mountains, and there's my huge giant rainbow. It's probably way bigger than we would see in the real world, but that's fine. All right, so we needed those 8 lines because I need enough space for all of our colors that we talked about. And the cool thing about rainbows is it's made up of mostly, I say mostly because there's like one extra color, but there's mostly those primary and secondary colors. Now the thing that we're gonna learn is something that I promise if you learn this, you'll remember this for the rest of your life. I learned this when I was in kindergarten and I can still tell you to this day what we're getting ready to learn. You're gonna learn a silly sounding name. You're gonna learn a name that sounds real funny. And that name is Roy G. Biv. So Roy G. Biv sounds like a really funny name, but we use that to tell us the order of the colors on a rainbow. So if we look at those letters, R-O-Y-G-B-I-V, and we think about the first letter in a bunch of the colors we talked about, that's how we get the order of the rainbow. And that order is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Indigo and violet sound probably like new colors to you. Indigo is just like a really, really dark blue. If you think of the color that like blue jeans are, that's pretty close to indigo. Now, violet is another name for purple. Violet and purple are pretty much the same thing. So that's the order that our rainbows need to be colored in. Now, if you've been following along, that's fine. If you were gonna wait to see what we were doing to start yours, that's fine, because remember I said yours does not have to be in the same place as mine is. Maybe you wanted just the field, just the grass part, and you were gonna show your rainbow. After you've got that, maybe you wanna add more things. Maybe you wanna add some trees or some animals or something. It's up to you. It's your world that you're making up, so you can color it exactly how you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and color this one, just so you guys can kind of see what it would look like when it's all the way done. And I'm gonna speed it up real quick because I don't really want to waste your guys' time that you could be using to make your own art stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and color. When I'm done with that, we'll talk just a little bit more. And then if you haven't already started, you can get started on yours. All right, here we go. All right, so there is my finished drawing. I've got my rainbow. I've shown everybody where the rainbow is. Mine's behind some mountains. Remember, yours did not have to be. That's it. That's the plan, guys. So draw a rainbow. Remember, we used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 curved lines to make that rainbow. Remember the order that we colored it in. Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Now, if you don't have all those colors and you can just get something close to it, that's fine too. These don't have to be perfect. We're just trying to learn some stuff. All right, my friends, after you're done, after you take all the time you need on these, don't forget, have your parents or yourself click that link down below everything that says show my artwork to Mr. Holiday. Love to see it. Can't wait. Hope you guys are doing good. See you later. Bye.